Hey everybody! Today we're going to talk about how we got into the Happier Camper brand, what our favorite features are, and if you stick around, you might even get to meet our dogs. So we thought we would start this channel off by explaining to you how we got to even own a Happier Camper, because it's kind of an unusual story. I'm sure there are probably other people who start camping this way, but it was a pretty big leap for us into the unknown. Do you remember, what do you remember from that?
Absolutely. Well, I remember you finding Happier Camper on Facebook and saying, this thing looks great, we should buy one. And then we did.
Yeah.
And by the way, we haven't mentioned there's a dog in the... this is Rosie,
Rose,
who loves television and everything
Yeah.
she can see in front of her.
Yeah. And our other dog, Charlie, she'll get on screen soon, I'm sure.
But not behind us because she's too big.
But yeah, so we were, we were going to go to Japan.
Not in the camper.
Not in the camper. But we were going to go to Japan. We were going to have a 50th birthday celebration kind of a thing. And we wanted it to be really big. We wanted to do something super exciting. And the more I started to think about how much that was going to cost, I thought, well, it's like a one-time experience. We'll do it, and then we'll have amazing memories. Right. But if we're going to spend that much money, why don't we think about
buying a camper?
But literally, I just saw the advertisement on Facebook, and I was like, and I may have been drinking at the time, because this is a thing, right? So we're all online, we're all browsing while drunk.
Drunken purchases is one of your
it's kind of my thing.
Yeah, one of your things. Yeah. We should mention as well that when we moved house, I think we started looking in January. We moved by March.
Yeah. So we make quick decisions, and we have that this feels like the right thing to do kind of approach to doing things.
Like the vodka still that you bought.
Yeah.
You've never used it, actually.
I do use it. I use it as a decor item.
Okay, anyway, back to the camper.
Anyway, back to the camper. Yeah, so instead of going to Japan on this amazing trip, we decided, let's buy a camper, which was unusual because we
had never camped, never pitched a tent. I pitched a tent in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah, so we had never camped before. I had pulled a trailer when I used to work for my dad as a teenager, but that was it. We didn't have any experience at all. And so it seems looking back on it now, I think oh, maybe this was a little weird. Because it's a big expense, right? I mean, you're going to spend a lot of money on this camper. You should be pretty sure you want to do it. But it just felt right.
Yeah, and it's been right since. We've had a lot of fun and
a
lot of good adventures. Gone to
we don't have one now,
a lot of
but
good places. But we will soon.
We will soon.
Very soon.
Yeah, and so we bought an HC1 in 2016. And I think, when people ask me well, why did you get the Happier Camper? Why didn't you get a different camper? It's funny because I didn't really understand the difference in how campers were manufactured in 2016. This is an area I didn't do any research on at all. But, the fact that it's a fiberglass trailer ultimately ended up being something that was really important. When I look at the difference between what they call sticks and tin, which is, just a wooden frame with, aluminum sheath wrapped around it. When I think about the differences in those campers' construction and then the fiberglass hull, I think we just got lucky. There was no big...
No, we definitely got lucky. I mean, it's been perfect for us. We haven't really found faults. We haven't said we wish this was different. We wish it was a different construction or different materials. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's worked out really well.
What's that movie, by the way, where the guy sweats profusely when he gets on TV? Is it Network News or something?
I don't know.
You know the movie.
I do know the movie. I can see that.
I'm all hot.
Oh my gosh, that movie is so good.
Rosie, you know what it is?
Holly Hunter, is she in that?
She is.
Oh
well,
my
anyway,
gosh, you should go see that movie.
All of a sudden,
I know, it's my presence.
I'm all hot.
I have that effect.
It's Rosie's presence.
You literally just said the dog is making you sweat, not your wife. That's fine. Whatever. We've been married for 18 years, and it might show occasionally. So we talk about there being three things that we loved about the camper that were the deal cinchers for us. I think we should talk about that.
Yeah. Well, for me, the modular interior for sure.
Yeah.
The fact that you can just pick those cubes up, they're light, even when you've got things in them, they're light, and you can reconfigure the camper in different ways. One minute you can have a queen size bed down, another you can have you could have two singles effectively, or where two people can sleep separately. You can have seating with the table in the middle. It's great. It's so adaptive.
Yeah, that's the name of it. Adaptive modular interior. In fact, like there's some things they offer now that they didn't offer in 2016 that if I was buying an HC1 right now, I would consider. So like the bunk beds, even though we don't have little kids anymore, I would have bought the bunk beds because we travel with a lot. Oh, the dog's gonna sleep on the bunk beds. We travel with a lot of bedding, which played into our decision to get another camper.
1 pillow.
5 pillows.
Even so.
No, 7. Make me sound like a lunatic. But yeah, like we travel with 2 bed toppers because I'm a baby. And I have 5 pillows and Michael has 1. And then we have a comforter. And we also have a light blanket in case one of us gets too hot, one of us wants the comforter. So this is not like a minimalist approach to bedding.
We couldn't sleep in a tent, put it that way.
We definitely couldn't sleep in a tent. And I'll talk about this as to one of the reasons why we decided to sell the HC1. So, second thing that we liked about the camper, other than the modular interior, was the back hatch. The back hatch is super cool. I don't know of any other travel trailer that has that kind of a feature. And I don't know, I guess it just really makes you feel like you're bringing the outdoors inside. Yeah. It's just awesome. I love it. And it comes with, doesn't come with, but you can buy a screen that Happier Camper makes to fit the opening. And that way you can like have that outdoor open feeling without having any of the bugs. Which
the screen's essential really, because you get that breeze coming all the way through the camper, but you also keep out the bugs.
The third thing that we loved about the camper, and this is probably just what draws everybody to the camper initially, is the design. It's so cool. It's so cool. That like retro look and feel.
Yeah, I mean the trip home, we drove from LA back to the East Coast, and we stopped somewhere, and some guy came up to me. I'd gone in to get a coffee from somewhere, and he said, "Oh, I love the camper. Was it like 60s, 50s? Did you guys do it up? Did you?"
Like refurbish it or something.
Did you refurbish it? And he couldn't believe it. I said, "No, it's about 2 weeks old."
Yeah. And I think if you are thinking about buying a Happier Camper, get ready to spend a lot of time talking to people about your camper when you're on the road. I would argue that we add maybe a half hour to an hour on any given trip. Just, you stop for gas and somebody wants to like, hey, can I just check it out? And, people are super curious and friendly, and it's kind of wonderful because it's awesome just to share this cool little camper with other people. Yeah,
we stopped at a tourist attraction in New Mexico, and we couldn't leave. We showed some guy, and he just wanted to look in the window.
So just to be clear, it's not that we couldn't leave. It's that Michael has the gift of the gab, and once you start, and you're English, right? So you don't say to someone like, I'm sorry, I have to go now.
Just being polite.
It's a thing though. Like we have to factor in like how cool the camper is and how unfailingly polite Michael is, and his inability to stop talking on a conversation. Right. So those are like the don't start now. The 3 things that we really loved about the Happier Camper. It's why we bought it. We were like super concerned because we had never bought a camper before. We bought everything. And like that, I think, they didn't even offer packages when we first bought our camper. We were number 44. And if you get a Happier Camper, it's kind of a thing, like everybody's into their number and it's fun. But we were number 44. So it was so early in their like development process as a company that they hadn't even figured out the package offerings yet. I think they started right after us.
Yeah, we bought everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah, I mean, everything. So we had the exterior bar, we had the large kitchenette.
We used the exterior bar twice.
Twice, right? In 3.5 years.
Once
we only
on
used
the
it
driveway
twice.
When we had a tailgate party.
And once, it was the first time we set it up just to say like, okay, we bought this thing, we got to use it. I'm sure it makes sense for some people to have an exterior bar. It wasn't really important to our way of camping. But yeah, I mean, the road shower, the solar and the inverter, and I mean, you name it. Like if it was a bell or a whistle, we wanted to get it. And it wasn't just covetousness. Is that a word?
It is now.
It wasn't that word. It was just the idea that, like, we knew we were buying this thing from California, and, like, God forbid, you know, what if we discover later it's really important to us and we want it, and we can't get it because you have to be able to get to Happier Campers headquarters to do it, which actually is the case right now with the bunk beds. So, you know, what I've learned since then is almost everything that we wanted, with the exception of, like, the solar, which we would not do ourselves. But, you know, most things that you could just order it after the fact. And, you know, Happier Camper has an online site now. Actually, they have, like, a whole e-commerce piece to the site now. But, yeah, so...
So if you have some covetousness of something, you can buy it and they'll send it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We just didn't know that at the time because we didn't know anything, because we had no idea what we were doing. And we'll have to do a camper about our first, like, picking up the camper and, like, our first night in the camper.
Indeed.
Michael almost blew up the camper.
I almost blew up the camper. You can say it.
Trust me, I say it.
That's a whole other video.
It is.
We're not going to recreate it though.
No, we are definitely not. So let's talk about why we sold the HC1.
It's a sad day.
It was a sad day. It was really sad. I don't think I realized, I mean, I always knew, like, we loved the camper, but, like, when I saw her driving away, I just felt like, you know, like, all those great fun memories, you know, but, speaking of but,
yeah. There you go.
Why did we do it?
Because just like when my parents replaced me with a newer model, my younger brother.
Wow.
No.
That's another video.
Sorry, Dad. No, we decided we wanted to get the HCT because it's bigger, it gives us more options, it means we can travel with both dogs. You'll appreciate when you actually see the larger dog that it's more comfortable, or it will be. So yeah. Yeah. So we have adult children, so we're not trying to buy a camper that will accommodate little kids on lots of trips. Now, it would be nice, Ryan, Lauren, Liam, and Nelson, if you would come camping with us sometimes, because now we'll have more room. Yeah.
But we travel with a Newfoundland and a West Highland Terrier, which is Rose, who you've been seeing in the background. And our Newfoundland's name is Charlotte, and we call her Charlie. And so we travel with them, and our Newfoundland weighs 145 pounds. She's a big girl. And she could sleep on the floor of the HC1.
Well, she has, and we have had the situation where we've just had like a 4-tile area, like a 4-cube area, and she's been quite happily curled up there, but it's not easy to get out the door. So
You're not going anywhere fast if you have to get over Charlie. And, you know, I think the other thing is, it kind of goes back to that conversation we were having earlier about the bedding, which is because we travel with so much bedding. Okay, because I require that we travel.
To buy a new camper.
No, well, that's not exactly true. But I like the idea of being able to have the bed on the left-hand side in place all the time, right? So we don't have to fold up the bedding and put it away in order to set up a table in order to have our breakfast at, right? I like the idea that we're going to have 2 separate living areas, if you will. And it has a wet bath.
But before you go there, we shouldn't contradict the fact that what's great about the HC1 is the ability, you know, it's adaptive.
Yeah, interior.
System.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great to be able to do that. But sometimes Jen will say, let's put all the bedding away. Let's reconfigure it as, you know, a seating area. And I'm just saying, I feel too lazy. It's just leave the bed down. That way it's done for the next night.
I'm so glad he said it.
Yeah. So it will be nice to have a bed down permanently. But what's great about the HC1 is you do have the option, of course, of changing everything around.
100%. Yeah, and I think, honestly, if I didn't require so much bedding, and we didn't have a 145-pound dog, I don't know that I would have felt like, oh yeah, we should definitely upgrade to the HCT. I probably would have been like, no, we're fine. But, you know, those 2 factors are probably kind of tipping points for us.
And the bathroom.
And the bathroom, yeah. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm excited. You know, I don't think we're going to really use the wet bath, you know, the shower part of this very often, but I like the idea that we have the option to use it. Yeah. And so the big news for us is it's arriving this week. Yeah, we're like beside ourselves excited. And it's November. So, thanks coronavirus. We thought we might be getting it a little bit earlier. And the original intention was that we would drive cross country and pick up the camper. And then I would take a nice long vacation from work. And we would do some bucket list type camping, like we did on our first trip with the HC1. But it got kind of late in the season, and I was getting impossible to live with because I hadn't had a vacation in way too long. So we decided to just have it shipped. So it arrives this week. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a video to kind of walk through what are all the bells and whistles when you first get your camper. What's that experience like?
Well, we're going to have the parade down the street when it arrives as well. All the big welcome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really excited. So if this video was interesting or helpful.
Or humorous.
You're funny. Make sure you subscribe and like it, because if you do that, other people can find it more easily. That's kind of how the algorithm works.
There's no subscribe button somewhere as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That thing. If you subscribe and like, and you can even turn on notifications so you'll get notified when we put up another video.
Warned.
What?
Warned.
What? Thanks, everybody. See you again soon.